The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
Hey, welcome back to the Blackbelt Sales Podcast. So happy that you were able to join us today. Hey, if you're a loyal listener to the show and you're listening on, say, Spotify or Apple or something like that, Apple Podcasts, would you please do us a favor and head on over and just give us a review? Tell us how you like the show. 5-star reviews only. Please don't leave us anything less than that. If you don't like the show, text me at 239-848-6533. I got Don in the house with me today. Don, Super Bowl's coming up. Who you going for, man?
Well, I see that we have our strong-built guys that are going Chiefs. So I can't go against guys who can sell $1 million a month. I mean, he's got something going on. So I got a comfort advisor selling $1 million a month. I'm gonna follow him on the pay line there, I guess.
I'm a little bit sore about the Chiefs right now because Brandon messaged me, I think 2 games ago, and he was like, "You want to place bets?" And I was like, "What are we talking about?" And this guy, big baller now, he's like, "How about we bet $6,500? I'll buy a ticket to the next class and I'll fly down, right?" And because he hates flying, he won't get on a plane. He's actually about to get on his first plane to head to a training just north of him this month. But I ended up losing that bet, and I lost a year's worth of money to the Lead Ninja Mastermind. So that cost me about $7,200 that game. It was bad. And I don't bet. I'm not a gambler at all. Do you gamble?
No, not on sports.
Yeah, I don't gamble at all, man. Only in business, right? I mean, every once in a while I'll go play some poker, but the most I've ever lost in poker was $300 in a night. Like, I'm just not the kind of guy that's going to go out and blow money on games of chance, right? But he's such a good client, and he's a good friend now. I figured, what the heck, I'd entertain him with it. It really doesn't cost me anything, right? I just give him the training for free.
Yeah, we'll have him on, and if you want to get to rub shoulders with $1 million a month sales guy that just is a good old common guy that really just follows the system and does a great job, he's going to be on for the next year. So let's I'm excited for that. He always brings some really interesting stories.
That's a really good point, Don. I don't think we talk about that enough. It's what we're talking about is the Lead Ninja Mastermind, where twice a week we do meetings with people all over the country. It's an hour-long meeting where we do one-on-one training in a group setting, and Brandon's a part of that. And we've got several guys in there that are tracking between $3 to $6 million a year in sales. And now they weren't always doing that, but that's part of the magic of the mastermind, right, that we run. But if you want to rub shoulders with guys like that, they say that, what do they say, Don, that you're the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with?
Yeah.
So if you want to,
you are your community kind of deal. So what you hang out with becomes you. So
yeah,
hang out with the guys above you.
Yeah, if you want to hang out with some players, you want to hang out with some guys that are really doing things that we're talking about, top 1% people here. Put mastermind down in the comments, and we'll have somebody reach out to you and get you some more information on that. Maybe even set up a 15-minute meeting with me or something just to get to know each other a little bit better. Put mastermind down in the comments, and we'll get you more information on that. So, Don, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're hearing more and more that people are slow to make a decision, slower to go with the discussions, or just putting things off a little bit more. So a lot of times we talk about Lead Ninja growing our average tickets, and it certainly has done that. But I think this next theme for a lot of guys, a lot of companies, will be work harder just to get the same results, at least till we get a little more clarity in the economy, clarity on the election clarity and every little thing that people will find an excuse out there for. So we have to work harder just to get the same results sometimes. And this feels like that time of the year, or that season that we're in, is do more. And we might not necessarily, have a lot of look at me, look at all my gains, but we'll have a lot of look at all the people who are suffering while we're not. So the economy, the politicians, the elections, none of that determines our success. It just determines how hard we have to work. And so right now, I feel like we got to work a little harder, little more, stay on the program, a little more, follow the systems, and make the list. That's one of the big things we've talked about. Is you got to be bold enough to actually make a list on these calls.
Don, would you say that we've got to work harder, or that we have to be more tactical about what we do?
Well, skill. One of the ways to work harder in my mind is go out and learn another skill. Go out and add another thing. So it might not mean physically harder. It might mean a little more mentally harder. It might mean a little more getting out of your comfort zone. I've always been this way and I'm comfortable, but it may be time for you to say, I'm going to have to push myself just a little more. Again, most of our guys work hard already physically. Let's work. Let's get the skills up so that when we have an opportunity, we've got a new skill to use.
It's the difference between, continuing to try to chop down a tree with a blunt axe and taking a moment to sharpen it, right? I don't want you guys working more hours. I don't want you away from your family any more than you already are. You're already working hard enough, right? But let's sharpen ourselves. Look, you might be out there selling $3 million a year. Good for you. Okay. But if you have stopped growing, you're dying and you don't even know it. Right. Find that next person that's doing bigger, better things than you. And there's always somebody out there, isn't there, Don, that's doing bigger and better things?
Yes. No matter how much you say, wow, that's a big number, seems like there's always the next one out there again. I like Brandon's 1 million a month. That was always a goal of my company, to see a guy that can do it in a
shit, man. $1 million is what a lot of companies are striving for.
Exactly. So I'm ecstatic that is a goal out there. So really, really big. Take all the factors into account. I don't care. It's a heck of an accomplishment. So congratulations to him. Plus, taking your money and taking your training, that's just a fun bonus as well. We'll get to see him more and more for the next year. So that's exciting.
So Don, how are we going to put this together? How are we going to get more of the deals? What is it like? Because I think it's a sense of urgency issue, right? I think that technicians go out, they find problems, and then they just try to sell a solution without selling the problem, right? They're selling these benefits. Now things are going to be better, but people tend to spend money faster to move away from pain than they do to experience pleasure. So could you expand on that just a little bit?
Yeah, so many times we know what they need and we try to, you need this. It's what they believe that they need is a big part of that. But my story is all the time, if your rent is due on the 1st, but they don't charge you the penalty till the 10th, most of us will say, whether it's your power bill, your rent, your car note, doesn't matter, I don't get charged a late fee till the 10th. We rush down there on the 9th and pay that bill, right? So we put off things as long as we can until there's a pain for waiting. And so many times we talk, technicians talk about the need, you need this, but they don't talk about why waiting will be penalizing you, why waiting hurts. What is the penalty to wait? A lot of times we talk about, an electrical panel or not having a surge protector, you're doing permanent irreversible damage to a compressor. Have you ever had to replace your compressor before? So you want to wear there like $3,000 to replace. That's an immediate pain. That's a pain they can move away from with a surge protector.
But you utilized questions, right? And there's some science behind that we won't get into right now, but he's utilizing questions to bypass the truth-false filter. And we'll get more into that at a later episode, but he's getting the client to come to their own conclusion that something needs to be done. And once they've come to that conclusion, you don't have to create any more sense of urgency. It's there, right?
Right. So we want to make sure, ask yourself two things. Why should they buy? What is the need? That's the first one. Why should they buy now? What's the sense of urgency? Right. So I know it's double questions on both sides, but it's essentially, there's massively different answers to why should they buy and why should they buy now. Very big difference in those two questions. And so the motivation of sense of urgency comes out of that. Why should they buy now? You got to get them to understand that today is the 9th and tomorrow they will pay the penalty if they wait to pay their power bill. One more day, I'm here to save you. And that could be saving the compressor. It may be saving the whole air conditioner. It may be saving the electrical panel for electricians by getting the ground on it, by getting the panel surge. Certainly could be saving your water system, your pipes, by getting a water filtration system that the pipes are getting the buildup and the corrosion in there. The water system will start to break that stuff up and clear out all those pipes for you. So there's that sense of urgency. Not do they need it, but do they need it now, needs to be part of your questioning to yourself. And if you can't answer why should someone buy now, do you expect that the client would have a better answer than you? So if you find yourself saying, I don't know to that question, the customer is going to say, I don't know as well.
Yeah, if you find yourself saying no to that question, you need to be in one of our programs.
We would love to have that. And so that sense of urgency is what I feel like we're going to be faced with. Now, this time of year, and we're in Alabama, the market that, my business was in, January and February are 2 tough months. It's not really extremely hot or cold. You get your mornings or your nights that get down into the 30s, 20s if it's cold, but it's gone by the noon the next day when the sun comes out. So There's a lot of sense of urgency conversations that I would be having this time of year with my employees. And you gotta get that indoor air quality, waiting. What is the pain or the penalty of not taking care of it now? You may be faced with an even bigger repair bill to get all new duct system. So always look at what's the one level up cost and use that as motivation to do the item. And that really brings us to the list. I'm not sure if that's where we meant to go here, but
let's go there. Let's go there in a second. Because there's another way of saying what Don is saying right now that might connect with other people that are in the audience right now. And the way of that I would say it, or sometimes do say it, is the client needs to be able to see that they're paying for something, whether they get it or not. If I can get a client to see that they're paying for something, whether they get it or not, I can get them to get whatever it is that is going to solve their problem, right? So in your example, Don, with the plumbing system, having stuff building up on the inside of it and shortening the life of the plumbing system, the way that I'd convince myself, as Don said, you've got to be convinced yourself, is how much is a plumbing system? Well, in this house right here, not the one that I'm in right now, but let's say the one that I'm in. The plumbing system in this house would probably cost $75,000 to replace, right? And the lifespan of that plumbing system should be at least 25 years, right? Well, if I don't have a water treatment system on my house, my plumbing system is really only going to last about half that long. What is the value of half that long? What's the value of half of $75,000? That's $37,500.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
A water treatment system is only $8,000, maybe $10,000. Worst case scenario for this house. If I want to get really fancy, 15. So can you see now why I say that you're paying for a water treatment system, whether you get one or not? That's what Don's trying to say. And let's move into the list, Don. What are we talking about? What are we going to talk about the list?
Well, I see with many technicians, even comfort advisors, and it's an internal, maybe a little lazy, and I don't want to call people lazy because, again, we're a hardworking group of guys out there, but we often want to put on the list just what we feel they will buy, not what are the possibilities, right? Like, I think I can get them to buy this. So we only want to put on our list those minimal things, because why do I want to take an extra 2 minutes of my life to write it on a piece of paper, stuff I know they're not going to buy? Well, if you knew.
Listen up, guys. This is important. This is magic that he's getting ready to share with you.
But if you knew that your client would give you less objections and be happier buying the stuff that you feel like they're going to buy by only having to take 2, 4, 5 minutes of your life and write it down on a piece of paper, wouldn't that be worth it? I love that Corbin said ever since he started writing it on a list, he went from, selling on the iPad to back to just writing it on a list. And he's a very nice producer. That just writing it on the list made it to the point where the customers just give less pushback. Larger majority, the 67% majority of our population are visual learners, visual people. You put it on a piece of paper, it suddenly kind of clicks in their mind. It clicks a little bit better. When we just talk about it, we're confusing them. So writing it down plays huge. But that doesn't mean just writing down just the stuff. Write the rest of the list. If it were free, and I often would tell the story, if this was your grandmother's house who raised you, that you loved dearly, and you were you're going to move to the other side of the country for a while, and you're not going to be able to take care of your grandmother like you really want to, what all would you go ahead and just do for her house right now without worrying about the money? So you take care of them. You make sure that everything is done so she wouldn't have to pick up the phone and call another plumbing, heating, air, electrical guy out for the next 5 years. That's what should go on the list. What would go on the list if this was your grandmother's house and money was not the issue? We weren't even worried. We're going to do it all for free for her because it's your grandmother, right? She raised you. You can remember all those times. Think back on that. That's what the list should be. It's your client's decision whether they want to do the whole list, half the list, or just one item. And we don't have to be mad that they don't buy the whole list. I sometimes will hear that from guys, is that I write all these lists and nobody ever wants to buy the whole list. The purpose of the list is to make them feel good about buying anything from you. Mandatory ideal, but at least when they get something, we made a sale. My belief, it's not the way to raise your ticket or raise your average ticket is not necessarily to try to sell a grand slam, a $10,000 or $20,000 list once a month. It's to get rid of the zeros.
Yeah.
If you get rid of a zero and turn a zero,
come on now, preach,
$400, man, your average ticket will just go crazy because you will still get that $10,000 sale or $5,000 sale or whatever the big number is in your head. Again, whatever's in your head, you don't have to necessarily worry about that. I call that fear of zeros. $100 might be a lot of money to a person. $1,000 be a little, wow, that's getting a lot of money. $10,000. It's just one zero on a piece of paper more than 1,000. It's just another zero. Just don't worry about it. It's not just fear of zeros. Just get past that. Now, 100,000. Now you're getting bold. What's the largest sale and ticket you ever single sale ticket you ever did that you wrote on a piece of paper, Gene?
$123,651.28.
You tend to remember a number like that.
Yeah,
right?
That was
again, think about this.
ago.
It was like selling a $12,000 list that had one extra digit on the end. Don't worry about it. It's the same process. If you can sell a $12,000 list, you can sell a $120,000 list. If you can sell $1,000, you can sell 10,000. It's just another digit. Don't put the commas in there. Don't put dollar signs. Don't put decimal points and change. It's just a number. It's just a number. It's just, and it's got a zero behind it most of the time. A lot of times that last digit just becomes a zero anyway, right? So just don't have any fear. Don't have fear of zeros. You don't have to fear the zero. So, but get our average ticket up, maybe even double or triple it. And again, I think this year, I just want to make sure everybody holds on to their average ticket. Don't go backwards on a tough, what could be a tough year. We will see if it turns out that way. The way to do that is the zeros turn into 400. The 400s could probably turn into 800, but it's the far more zeros out there than there are $400 tickets that need to be improved. So business owner, service tech, count those zeros and then see what the numbers on your business would look like if every one of those were just $400. Man, a lot of money.
So let's make some people some money right now. If you're a plumber out there, let's just take plumbing, for example. If you're a plumber out there, on your next service call, just put down whatever the service call is on a piece of paper. Underneath that, put down whatever the repair is, right? And then down at the bottom of the page, just write out whole house water treatment / filtration system to protect plumbing. You could even put a question mark if you wanted to. I would probably just throw the price down there of $8,500, right? Yeah. Make sure that you price it well, right? Above
84, 87. Always engine prices and weird numbers. Don't go perfectly round. Yes, if you go past $100,000, I'll let you just throw a zero somewhere in there because we're not staring that deep. But generally, you want your prices to have end in 87. I know you have to look them up in the price book, but for your company, but when I built prices, lots of stuff end in 87, 89, 87, 10, 9, 8, 7. That was a very fun one. If AJ is on here, he will giggle because that's his magic number, 10, 9, 8, 7. So 10, 9, beautiful, 8, beautiful sale, beautiful sale.
Now I want you to put it down at the bottom of the piece of paper, plumbers. Okay, and I don't want you to even try to sell it. I don't even want you to talk about it. Okay. Just put it on the piece of paper. I'm going to make this easy for you. Now there are more effective ways, but I'm just going to make you some money without hardly any effort. Can you do this? Can you write some stuff down on a piece of paper? If you can write on a piece of paper, you will make more money from this. So just put it down at the bottom and wait for the client to ask a question about it. That's it.
That's it. And
then just have a conversation with them. A short one, right? And it should be a couple of questions maybe that you ask them. Something like this. What is this down here, Gene? Oh, that's our water filtration system. Is that something you want to know just a little bit more about? They'll say yes. Were you aware that the plumbing system only lasts about half as long as it otherwise would if you don't have a water filtration system? Would it surprise you to know that most of our plumbing repairs come from people that don't have one? Did you know that it's actually cheaper to have a water filtration system than to not have one? Give them a payment. That's it. Just a couple of questions. This does not require a lot of effort, does it, Don?
It doesn't. And in any trade, you've got that same technique.
Yeah.
Now you didn't say these words, but I hear it a lot that in the long run. You'll hear that like in the long run. Just say exactly what you were going to say and drop the words in the long run. Because one of the sentences you said, did you know it's cheaper to have a water filtration than to not in the long run is what was going to go through our minds. We just don't say in the long run. And it makes it feel like a sense of urgency that we've got to take care of it now. Just getting rid of that little phrase will help people understand I got to take action. But it will save you money in the long run. Then someday, then I'll worry about the long run. I'm worried about this month right now is what goes through so many people's minds.
A great opening question too could be when they ask, what is this about the water filtration system? You could just ask them, were you aware that you're paying for a water filtration system, whether you get one or not? They might ask, well, what do you mean by that? And then you can just educate a tiny bit. I'm talking about 30 to 60 seconds, no more. You guys are talking your way out of sales. You're saying too much. Say less. Ask a couple of questions, and they'll start buying from you. I swear to God, they'll start buying.
And you didn't say put down the brand or the actual product. It just said whole house water filtration system. If you like Halo 5s, which we love, I love Halo 5s. The Halo Zero that's out, love it as well. But you're not there to sell a product. You're there to sell the benefit of lengthening their water system.
You're there to sell removing pain that they didn't even know existed.
And the product you use is your choice. So if you find yourself writing product on your list, just say what that product does, not the product name itself. Just
stop selling products.
Yeah, that's the thing. They buy our solutions and your ability to provide those solutions, really, not really the products at all. In other trades, HVAC, just put at the bottom of the list, add to upgrade equipment and put a question mark. Well, it's only 6 years old. It's only 8 years old, only 25 years old. That's just a number. It's just a number. Add to upgrade. There are plenty of 6-year-old systems that are, single speed compressors that, non-variable speed, that once they know the value of constant comfort and the utility savings and all the other stuff, they'd be like, why did I even choose this one last time? I wish that guy would have told me about it 6 years ago. I wish my builder hadn't have put in this system that this basic item here. Add to upgrade to a constant comfort and put a question mark. If you're a selling tech and you have that, okay, put the number out there. But if you're a turnover type guy and you've got comfort advisors, just put a question mark. And when they say, well, how much, what are you talking about here? What new one costs? Let's find out. Now, you want a price condition. On anything, water filtration, HVAC equipment, electrical panels. You can use a price conditioning in anywhere. We typically talk about it in HVAC, but once you learn the process, you can price condition whatever it is you're talking about. So how would you price condition for an HVAC system, Gene?
Well, if I'm replacing it, I would first ask the client, have they ever bought a system before? Most clients are going to say no. If they said yes, we'd have a different conversation about what's been happening with inflation, stuff like that, and then I would price condition it. But if they haven't bought a new system, I personally want to give them a huge range. Like, I want to let them know what the best stuff could cost. So I'll say something like, well, just so you know, we've had clients who've spent as much as $50,000 on a whole new, super high efficient, amazing system, right? Along with replacing ductwork and even some of the really great air quality products that are available nowadays. We've also had clients spend as little as $9,000, but most of our clients spend somewhere between 15 to 20 or whatever number it is that you want to put out there, right? And then I'll turn around and go get to work. This is not a time to have a conversation with the client about pricing. You're just letting them know that there are a range of prices out there. And there's many reasons we do it, but unfortunately we don't have time to get into all those today.
And there's some herd and pack mentality going on right there. People feel comfortable. Some spend as much as $25,000. And then you can just tell what that is. You don't have to worry necessarily about our script. Just go into for the top of the line, blah, blah, that. A few spend as little as, and then go with a basic AC coil or even a, kind of price. So you can give them a nice range to see where they fall. But kind of erases everything that went before it. The majority, or most, if you don't like the word majority, most end up, and then state where you want your new ticket average. If you're a business owner or a comfort advisor and you want to get your ticket average to 14,000, say 14,000.
That's right.
It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
You will grow to get that ticket average to 14,000 with that.
You'll manifest that if you continue to do it. If you
yes.
continue to say it, you'll trick your brain into it.
If you're a service manager, sales manager, business owner, and you want more leads out of your service department, teach them these two things. Write that phrase on every list and learn how to do price conditioning. And then they'll simply say at the end, let's find out. Let me find out for you, or some version of, I'll get a comfort advisor out here, or I'll call the office. You don't even have to go into selling the equipment for the technician right there. You're just going to say, let's find out. Give me a few minutes and I'll get that information for you. Didn't say I would call. I'll get that information. I prefer for my comfort advisor to just show up with that information. But every business is a little different. You have to kind of figure out what you want to do. That's how we got vast majority of all our leads out of our service department, was those two things. Put it on the list, price condition it, and then let me find out for you, or let's find out together. And usually it would be the comfort advisor just drives up and then takes over the call. So don't overthink turnovers. Sometimes we want to do too much with turnovers, to qualify them too much. If you not have enough sales leads already, bring your quality down, but your quantity way up on leads, and you've got more to work with. You've got more to work with. So side note of what we were, just where we go with that is get more out of your service department. Is easier said than done, but those two things really are all it takes. Those two items are really all it takes, is get it on the list and then learn how to price condition. I would role play that with every technician to make sure they know how to say it. Because even though you heard it, and if you want the transcript of it, put that in the in the comments that you want the price conditioning. We'll just text it over to you, or message it over, something of that nature. But actually say it, not just listen to it. Gene?
Yeah, let's bring this back to the beginning. Only because I think that a lot of the calls that we're going to be going on over the next year or two, historically, what we see is that maybe only 20-30% of them tops, let's look at HVAC, are replacements for, or opportunities for replacing equipment, right? So 70% of the calls that we're going to be running are probably not going to have an opportunity for replacing equipment because it's already been replaced or it's not old enough. So what do we do in those scenarios? Well, you just start putting other things on the list. Like we were talking about before, put a water filtration system on the bottom of the list. Just put it there, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about a quick study. Everybody knows Honeywell, right? Have you guys heard about the Honeywell study that they did with adding options or accessories? So this is years ago, and you'll know that this is true because they do it in the car industry as well. Honeywell said, hey, we want to do an experiment. We want to add 3 accessories to every single job, right? And we want to see how many people buy. So they had all their comfort advisors add 3 options to every furnace or air conditioning install. And how many do you think that they bought? Out of 3 options, how many do you think people bought? Turns out on average it was 1. That's right. And so they said, well, if that was the result for 3, wonder what the result would be for 10. So they began to put 10 options at the bottom. Now, mind you, not all the comfort advisors are going to go through all these options. Most of them don't, right? But they just put them at the bottom of the list. What do you think the result was there? Turns out they bought 3. Now, what was the only difference? Was it the number of things that were on the list? When people have options, they tend to buy things. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at your own bank account right now. You don't have to own all the shit that you own, but you own it anyways. And if you didn't own it, there'd be more money in your bank account, right? If you give people more options, more things that they could buy, they do tend to buy more. So seriously, if you just want to increase the amount of money that you're making, the amount of revenue that you're doing, you really, truly only do have to just start putting more stuff in front of the customer, okay? Right. Now, there's a difference between that and becoming a master. And that's where we come in. We strengthen people and we give them the tools to become a master. But
our minimum list was 7 items. Look, if you can't think of any, you got to get 7. All right. If it turns into 10 or 20 or 30, I'm okay with that. But 7 was the minimum. 2 in the mandatory with a service agreement. So that's 3. 2 in the future. That helps you build a sense of urgency, or like it really kind of plants seeds that they're going to have to deal with this in the future. And those two combined will often get people that you would never think considering a new system would consider a new system. And that's in the last section. Nice to have 2 items there. All right. One could be add to upgrade. And we were 8 years. You have to kind of come up with your own number. But for us, if it was 8 years and older, equipment went on the list. Didn't mean we were going to sell every system at 8 years. But if we start planting the seed at 8 years, when they have a repair at 9, a 10, or 11 in the next 2-3 years, they're more likely to say, I guess it's time. So plant 8-year-old seeds, and it'll make life so much easier in your 10 or 11. So that's where that philosophy kind of works. If you start talking about it, not so many times is the service tech say your equipment looks great. It's good. It's great. It's good. Another great day. Good. And then 6 months later, oh, you need to replace. Well, heck, you've been telling me it's great. You've not warned me. And now it kind of hits me out of left field, and it makes me not trust you now. If you kept planting that seed but didn't necessarily try to be pushy about it, you just let them know, you will see that. So that's, sometimes the service techs, they don't go back to the same call, and they're thinking, what good will it do for me? But if everybody in the company does it, if you're the service manager, owner, you start planting a lot of seeds, next year, the following year, the momentum will just build for you. And next year we have, there's a great article. Matt Michelle always does a great article. Used to be Service Nation, retired, about unit system, HVAC unit shipment volume.
Yeah.
This is this is the trough of the shipment volume that we're going through. And now every year, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, every year the volume went up for the next 5 years. So I don't have that article, but I love reading just about anything I can get, Matt, from Matt. He puts out different articles, but his ones about number of unit shipments, it makes you know that, okay, it's coming. Might not necessarily be a shoe-in this year, but it's coming. So get your skill set up this year, plant seeds all year long. Your next year will be tremendous. So, Gene, I know we're coming close to our time. Is there anything else we wanted to cover today?
Well, I want to bring it back to kind of not parrot something that you said before, but if you just do put these things on the list and you have small conversations or no conversations about them, if you continue to do that, there's a saying out there that persistence wears down resistance. Persistence wears down resistance. Have you ever heard of that? And essentially, something else that kind of goes along with that. People are so negative, Les Brown says, that they got to tell you no like 6 times before they tell you yes. Right? But the two kind of go hand in hand. Continue to put things in front of the clients. They'll become desensitized to it. And your persistence will eventually wear down that resistance, because people have got to be told multiple times to do things yes or no. I mean, when was the last time that your wife had to ask you multiple times to do something, right? Every day? So just be consistent, y'all. I think that should be enough for us today, Don. Real quick, before we do take off, though, guys, March 20th through the 24th of this year, 2023, we have got a live event. It's at a mansion in Orlando, Florida. We're going to be talking about sales process, indoor air quality, water treatment, electrical, all those kinds of things. But it's all going to be around sales and communications. We're all going to live together for 4 nights and 3 days at the Grand Halla Mansion in Orlando. It's a beautiful place. We're going to have a private chef cooking your breakfasts and everything. Believe it or not, this is all cheaper to do this way than it is for us to all go to a hotel and individually buy our hotels. So I'm going to feed you. I'm going to house you. I'm going to give you tools to slay it in this marketplace and in any marketplace that you're ever in the future. Because, guys, think about it. Business is never just good or bad out there. It's only good or bad between your ears. All right, that's an old Zig Ziglar saying, and it's never been truer. than it is today. So if you're sick and tired of zero tickets, if you're sick and tired of low closing ratios, if you're sick and tired of customers giving you the runaround and not being able to get them to commit to business, find yourself in Orlando, March 20th through the 24th, Wednesday check-in at 6 p.m., Sunday checkout before 10 a.m., and I will absolutely change your life forever. I'll show you the tools. I can't pry your mouth open and throw the water down it, right? But if you're hungry and humble, I'll show you how to make $250,000, $500,000 a year as a technician without owning your own business, and sometimes even more than that.
Yeah, and it might sound a little weird.
Wait. Hang on a second. If you're interested in that, please put mansion down in the comments for me. Pretty please. Also, if you're watching us live right now, please put live in the comments. And if you're watching us on a replay, please put replay in the comments. That's all we ask to continue to come on air and bring you this type of gold, guys. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, Gene really runs the classes, teaches, you get his knowledge, and then as soon as you walk out of the class, take a break. You typically we're getting 4 or 5 guys sitting around, and we're taking what he just taught, and we're talking about how to implement it, how to use it, how to say it, how to get it memorized so that you can go on. So you're not just training during the class. We train just as much while we're kind of standing around in the kitchen or sitting around the pool. Or last time it was quite amusing. The guys were sitting in the hot tub and we were all just role playing the scripting.
I'm glad you said the script, bro.
Yeah. I want to think about it. We're all sitting in the hot tub, and I was like, "Okay, your turn. You got to do it next. Your turn."
It's a big ass hot
tub. I didn't enforce it, but it was almost like, if you can't do this, you got to get out of the hot tub.
If you're not willing to participate, that could be taken so many ways. Anyhow, guys, if you're interested in the class or the mastermind, and you want information right away before the thing sells out, you can text me. My cell number is 239-848-6533. 239-848-6533. And we're going to take you out with a video of the mansion right after I check and make sure that Don doesn't have anything else to say.
Thank you for the time. We appreciate it, Gene. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Ninjas, I love you. Check out this video. This is a video of Grand Hollow Mansion and some of the participants. We've had guys come in that were doing $2.5 million in sales and doubled their run rate in like 30 days or less. So we're talking about massive transformation here. There is nobody else in the country or in the world that is better at this than Lead Ninja. We'll see you guys soon. Check out this video.
I'm Jonah Gorlitz. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I've been doing HVAC for about 1.5, 2 years now, and I work for Instant Air out of Shepherdsville, Kentucky.
Hi, I'm Kim Kay. I work with Leads Nearby, and I have been working with Leads Nearby for over 8 years, and we work with HVAC, electrical, and plumbing contractors.
So my name is Chris Laurentino from Comfort Specialists. We're out of Morris County, New Jersey. I've been in the industry about 17 years now.
I joined the mastermind because it's not just a sales course. Actually, it's not really a sales course at all.
So the reason that I joined the mastermind is I've seen some people's results online that
This is different from other events that I've been to. I've been to various contest events for quite a few years now.
It really taught me how to understand and communicate to the customer well. It's actually my second mansion trip.
From the community of how well some people have done, and I really wanted to be a part of that.
And this one is the best space. It's the most glamorous space. And it's basically one training that builds upon each other.
Share in that success, and it felt that the best way to achieve that was to actually get here and get involved in the training. And frankly, in my mind, there's no better way to train than in person.
Since I've been in the class since December, my income has improved, my revenue for the company has improved, my customer relations have improved, and my call volume has decreased while the profits and everything else has increased.
Being here is a unique experience that you can't replicate in just a Zoom class. There's so much more that you get out of this.
And the other events I've been to, it's a lot of information on a lot of topics, where this is very concentrated. I feel like it allows you to have more focus.
Hey, thanks for hanging with us, guys. Again, my cell is 239-848-6533. I'll give it to you one more time for those of you that are on the podcast. It's 239-848-6533. Hey, if you could just do me a huge favor, if I could ask for just one thing from you, if you're listening to this on an audio platform, would you please go over and give us a review? Share with us how you like the show. If you don't like it, you can just text me a nasty message at that number that I just gave you. All right. Till next time, guys, go out and slay you some dragons. I'll see you soon. Bye.